Well, welcome back onto the program where you can be part of the conversation here on Channels Television on the issue of the budget padding controversy. Well, go on to Twitter at CTV Politics or at Shea Walking, hashtag who padded 2016 budget, and let's know what exactly you're talking about. Well, let me show you some of the parts of that interview with the whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Al-Hassan Adodogua.
And he was removed on the basis of incompetence. He was removed on the basis of taking for granted members of his committee. There were a lot of allegations of complete exclusiveness of members of his committee.
How did you find this out?
And what do you mean?
How did you find out that he was incompetent?
In the course of our interaction with him, in the course of the discharge of his responsibility, we are his leaders. I am part of the leaders of the House of Representatives as it is today. And for me not to be able to understand or to differentiate between the chefs and the rice, then you call me a different thing. I'm a leader that is in charge. I want to tell you, Abdulmumin was found guilty of complete exclusion of members of the Committee on Appropriation. We also found him guilty of conspiring with some agencies out there, and sometimes even speaking on behalf of the leadership or speaking on behalf of the House itself, where he had no mandate to do.
Well, when did you discover this? During or after the process?
In fact, all through.
All through the process.
All through the process.
And you're saying this right after the budget has been passed?
Oh, of course we had.
You didn't discover. If you discover someone was incompetent during the process of the budget,
yes,
that means it was harmful to have him stay.
We took an action. I want to tell you clearly that the last budget, which is the particular budget in question, is a perfect document because Abdulmumin's hands was more of a passive hands.
Did you investigate him?
There were a lot of interactions. We don't have to really constitute even an investigative funnel to get him
because if you say you fired him,
let me tell you,
you fired him based on assumption.
Let me tell you this. Of course we did. Of course we did.
Which committee investigated
my
him?
brother, what you don't know is that we have so many mechanisms of operating our own system in the parliament. And not only Nigerian parliament, it's not only peculiar to Nigerian.
Was this a formal mechanism that you employed in Jibrin's case?
We can employ formal and informal mechanisms.
So you formally removed him?
No.
How then? Which committee sat on his investigation?
It doesn't have to be committed to any special committee.
Would you accept if you were removed at the whip of the House of Reps informally?
The leadership itself, my brother, is like a standing committee. The committee of the leaders. And whatever we do is formal. And I want to tell you that we have sat together, the 10 of us, ranging from the Speaker, Deputy Speaker, down to the House Leader, Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, and we have all consulted ourselves and consented to his removal because we found in him like a cancer in the system. Not only in the budgetary system, but a cancer in the legislative system of the Nigerian National Assembly. And we collectively decided to cleanse him, and we have gotten that out of the system. And I want to tell you, Nigerians should now expect a perfect budget come 2017, because we have really operated the cancer. It's no longer part of it, and this was a collective decision of all the members of the leadership, everyone inclusive. Yes.
What exactly did you find out about Honorable Jibrin?
Like I said, we had so many issues. One, let me tell you specifically. One, there were so many complaints and outcries by his members of the committees, whom he was supposed to have worked with them in absolute inclusion. He has excluded them. At times, members complained to us, including his deputy, that business of the committee were being held in the kitchen in his own house, or taking the business of the committee to his bedroom, or even to his parlor, private parlor. This is uncalled for and is unethical of the House of Representatives. He was also found guilty through very reliable sources of conspiring with agencies out there to be able to arrange for some funds in the budgetary process, only for him to do whatever he wants to do with them at the end of the passage of the budget. And the last one, which has become more dangerous to us, was his ability, through mischievous intention, went to lie at Mr. President that the leadership and the House itself has guaranteed Mr. President and the executive arm of government 85% sustenance of the budgetary proposal, which has never existed.
You discovered this all along?
What I'm telling you, we discovered this in the process. It's something that is gradual.
The reason why I'm asking is that is it not an indictment on the leadership of the House of Representatives when you, according to you, that you saw a cancer in the process, in the exercise that was going on,
yes,
and you were not ready to remove it in the middle of it, and you allowed it to stay to the end?
My friend, like I told you, one thing leads to the other. And we started this thing as a process, gradual process, one step to the next step. And I told you, in the process of considering or engaging the 2016 budget, we are taking that in 3 components. And it was in the last component of the budget consideration when Abdulmumin, we now found out we could no longer tolerate him. He was a cancer. We believed he was a cancer and needed to have been operated. And we operated it at that stage. That is why I still tell you that we are proud of the document you call 2016 budget, because at a level, we created an enabling environment where clean hands worked on it.
A lot of people have said that padding has been with the National Assembly for a long time. Honorable Jibrin will call it senseless insertions. You said that the law permits the National Assembly to appropriate, to touch here and there on the budget. But again, he has said that fine insertions are allowed, but there were senseless insertions by 4 of you that he has pointed out. The Speaker, the Deputy Speaker, yourself, and the Minority Leader, Leogo.
That is not true. And I repeat, it's not true. Let me tell you, I still want to stand by my statement, my earlier statement. You just cannot, under whatever circumstance, bring in the concept of padding and apply it under legitimate process or legitimate engagement.
What would you rather call it? What would you rather?
Appropriation. No, just like it has been stated in section 80.
If the wrong things have been put into the budget, what would you call it?
My brother, nothing would have been wrong as far as it's being contained within what is legitimate.
So there's nothing that a lawmaker does on the budget that is wrong.
Let me tell you one thing.
Everything a lawmaker does on the budget is right.
Can you share with me an adage from my place? Can you do that?
Go ahead, please.
There is an adage from my place that says whatever is in the meat, even if it's a rotten thing, is also meat. Whatever is in the meat is contained in the meat. So I want to say,
would you consume such?
I want to tell you whatever is contained in the budget, a vast budget, signed by the President and signed by the 2 chambers of the National Assembly, wrong or right, it stands to now deemed to be right.
For example,
it is protected by the
allegations of the fact that projects that are directed straight and linked to the farm of the Speaker, personal farm of the Speaker, that's also right.
This is one of the things that I told you were mere sham. Can you give me evidence of such projects that are cited in the... What he claimed that there was any project taken or located in the Speaker's farm is unfounded. It's not true. And quote me, I'm telling you authoritatively there was no such project.
That is not true. Do you have any...
You are dealing with someone that is a professional blackmailer. He knows how to professionally blackmail and incite and intimidate people.
The allegations of Honorable Jibrin against you.
I did. Okay. I have heard.
What are your defense to that?
My only defense is to tell you that are not true.
Okay, let me ask you.
Whatever we had done,
did you lobby any constituency projects to your constituency?
We have a tradition that suggests that every member should be entitled to certain lots of budgetary intervention for him to be able to have something to carry home. So in my own case, I can tell you, and I have no fear, without any fear of contradiction, that I have also submitted legitimately within the context of the provision of our laws certain provisions, certain budgetary provisions. I have intervened it through the normal process, which of course I had to pass my documents to the chairman of the appropriation committee. And also want to put it clear that each and every member of the House of Representatives too has his own lot of that. It's not about giving me money. Nobody collects any money. And the implementation of such projects are merely done through the agencies and the MDS of government.
How many projects do you have in your constituency in the 2016 budget?
I have several of them. I cannot.
How many of them?
There are
they up to 10?
There are too several to be mentioned. And that is why I'm in the National Assembly. I have a people to represent in the House of Representatives. And when I represent them and I've not been able to convey such intervention, of what use am I there then?
Is it not now true what some of your members are saying, yes, that the spread of zonal intervention fund, for example,
yes,
is not spread across? Some people are aggrieved. Do you know that some of your members are aggrieved about the spread of zonal intervention fund?
That is why, like I said earlier, experience is always important in this discourse. Some of these members that complain, they have forgotten that the way we deal with the zonal intervention funds is an equal thing. A situation whereby you have 60 billion naira to be shared to the 6 geopolitical zones on equal basis. And in those geopolitical zones, you have zones that have only 5 states, while others have 7 states. That is where disparity comes, lopsidedness comes. It's not about sheer aggrandizement. Okay, it's not about sheer selfishness. Yes.
20 billion of wasteful projects. That's one of the allegations that Honorable Jibrin has said, that you accrue to yourselves and some of the principal officers about 20 billion naira of wasteful projects.
No project that could be found in a sacrosanct document that you call bill, an act of the National Assembly, a law that is supposed to be sacrosanct for the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and you are calling projects contained therein as senseless or wasteful. I want to tell you, even if we are going back to the concept of diction or defining waste and non-waste, to define a project wasteful is a subjective thing. If Jibrin thinks the projects I have secured in my constituency are wasteful, for subjective judgment, I want to tell you that projects I have inserted or projects I have appropriated to my constituency are not wasteful. They are useful, they are critical, and my people and my constituency really desire, they are desirous of such projects. Maybe he looks at them as wasteful because I have a chicken 1.8 billion naira to my federal constituency, while he has a whooping 5 billion naira into his own federal constituency, which he has also achieved through a prudent manner.
He did that?
Why should I do that?
No, he did that.
Of course, I tell you, he did that. Why should he have monies more than his own principal officer? He did that dubiously. He was able to corner up to 4.8 billion naira into 2 local governments of his federal constituency. Here am I, being the leader, not only of his state, leader of the whole those western states, and I had only 1.8 billion naira to take to my constituency.
And that is inside the budget presently?
Yes.
And you allowed it to pass?
Of course, why shouldn't I?
You are answerable to Nigerians.
Yeah, I'm now answerable to Nigerians that yes. Abdulmumin has been able to appropriate. In this case, I'm not saying he's partying, because he has taken advantage of the protection he has by the law to put in projects for his people. I am not calling Abdulmumin as a padder, but I'm telling you that he has selfishly appropriated. And that is the word that you should always use.
4.8 billion.
Yes, to his own federal
constituency. And you have about 1.8 billion.
1.8, and out of that 1.8, I challenge my members from my zone, that I had further appropriated significant of that 1.8 to some of my other members in that zone, in order to make it a little more balanced. Maybe that was what other leaders were not able to make, and that has created this much noise. I had 1.8. Out of 1.8, I had been able to disburse and appropriate to other members of my zone.
How much went into for the constituency for the speaker?
That is not a question for me to answer. But all I know is that
if 4.8 billion goes to the chairman of appropriation committee and 1.8 goes to you, to you, how much went into for the speaker?
I want to confirm to you the speaker, based on this envelope of the zonal intervention funds, has gotten less than 5 billion naira.
Less than. It's not up to what the honorable.
That is not true.
Is the honorable Jibrin?
You see,
is it the one that has the highest?
My brother.
Is it the one that has the highest that went to him?
My brother, let me further tell you that the 4.8 billion naira I've mentioned is just what the eye and the ears could see. It is more to that. He has successfully appropriated, not padded. Quote me anywhere. He has successfully taken advantage of being the chief appropriation officer of the National Assembly. He has appropriated to various agencies where your ordinary eye and my own ordinary eyes cannot see.
That's the Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Honorable Hassan Dogoa, talking to us there on this matter. Don't forget that we had Honorable Jibrin, the man who brought forward these allegations. Well, let me introduce you to my guest who will be bringing perspective to this matter. The senior lawyer in Nigeria, senior advocate of Nigeria, Robert Clark. Mr. Robert Clark joins us on the program. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Always my pleasure.
Just in a few seconds before we go on this break, because you will be telling us you found a lot of things out on this matter, your research about this issue of padding and how these issues of constituency project goes on in the National Assembly. And the first look at that interview and the conversations that we've had over these padding allegations over the last few weeks, what is this that comes first into your mind on this matter?
It makes me sick, especially listening to the Chief Whip, who claims that there is no padding, and that padding of the budget is alien to the National Assembly. The definition of padding, the ordinary definition of padding, is that when you add to a document unnecessarily or dishonestly. It's either when you are adding on top of a document, you do it unnecessarily, or in the alternative, you are doing it dishonestly.
Okay, Mr. Clark, there's a lot to talk about that you will be telling us on the program, but we're going to this short break, and when we return, you will be talking to us, giving us perspectives on this matter. Join us again.